Its professionalism and excellence in media training has achieved another significant milestone. In addition to its existing affiliation with Ahmadu Bello University Zaria for the award of a degree in mass communication, the college has now received official approval from the National Board for Technical Education (NBTE) to commence National Diploma (ND) programs in mass communication and multimedia. Additional programs are also in progress. Admission requirements: a minimum of 5 O-level credit passes in relevant subjects. For National Diploma
On the news tonight, President Tinubu's third anniversary, Speaker Abbas applauds reforms, endorses second term, plus Governor Ayedatiwa to lead grassroots mobilization ahead of Ekiti governorship election. Good evening and thanks for joining us on Nta Akure News at 7. I am Abiola Ario. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to economic recovery, national development, and inclusive growth as Nigeria marks the third anniversary of its government on May 29, 2026. The president acknowledged the sacrifices Nigerians have made following key economic reforms, including the removal of fuel subsidies and foreign exchange unification, describing the measures as difficult but necessary steps taken to prevent physical collapse and secure the country's future. President Tinubu stated that the reforms are beginning to yield positive results across major sectors of the economy. According to him, Nigeria's economy is becoming more competitive, investor confidence is returning, and public finances are improving. He highlighted significant progress in infrastructure development, noting that over 2,700 kilometers of highways and major roads are under construction or rehabilitation nationwide, alongside ongoing rail modernization projects aimed at improving transportation, trade, and connectivity. The president also pointed to notable achievements in energy, agriculture, education, housing, and healthcare. He said reforms in the oil and gas sector have attracted fresh investments and improved local refining capacity, while agricultural interventions are supporting millions of farmers through access to finance, mechanization, and improved inputs. He further disclosed that over 1.5 million students have benefited from the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, while housing and healthcare initiatives are creating jobs and expanding access to essential services. On youth empowerment and digital transformation, President Tinubu reiterated his administration's commitment to investing in innovation, technology, entrepreneurship, and skills development. He also assured Nigerians that security remains a top priority, stressing that security agencies have intensified operations against terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and other criminal activities. According to the president, ongoing investments in intelligence, surveillance, and military capacity are helping to restore peace and stability across affected communities. President Tinubu called on Nigerians to remain united, hopeful, and committed to national development, emphasizing that nation building requires sacrifice, resilience, and collective effort. He assured citizens that the foundation for long-term recovery and prosperity has been laid and urged all Nigerians, regardless of region, religion, or background, to work together toward building a secure, prosperous, and inclusive nation. Speaker of the House of Representatives Abbas Tajuddin has urged Nigerians to renew President Bola Tinubu's mandate in 2027 to complete ongoing policies and projects. The Speaker stated this in a congratulatory message to the President on his administration's third anniversary. Speaker Abbas notes that the government is delivering on its renewed hope agenda despite inheriting a country initially on life support economically and security-wise. The Speaker commended President Tinubu for choosing long-term reforms over political convenience, saying Nigerians are now seeing results in GDP growth, a boost in external reserves and FAC allocations, as well as massive infrastructure with major projects like the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Highway, and rail modernization, opening new economic corridors. Speaker Abbas reaffirmed the commitment of the 10th Assembly and House of Representatives to work with the executive on laws that will improve welfare and security, and called for stronger federal, state, and local collaboration. The All Progressives Congress (APC) has constituted its National Campaign Council and subcommittees for the forthcoming Ekiti State governorship election, with Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, and a commissioner in Ondo State, Dr. Seun Osamaye, among notable appointees. According to the list released by the party's National Secretariat in Abuja, the National Campaign Council is chaired by Governor Uba Sani, while Senate President Godswill Akpabio serves as vice chairman. The council comprises 7 governors, former governors, senators, ministers, members of the House of Representatives, party stalwarts, and key political figures from across the country. The APC also constituted various strategic subcommittees to coordinate different aspects of governorship campaign ahead of the election. Governor Ayedatiwa was named chairman of the Grassroots Engagement and Mobilization Committee, while Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo was appointed member of both the National Campaign Council and the Finance and Resource Mobilization Committee. Dr. Seun Osamaye was also appointed as Secretary of the Women's Mobilization Committee. The committees are expected to coordinate mobilization, publicity, election planning, logistics, finance, security, and stakeholder engagement for the party ahead of the governorship poll. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund, has dismissed as false as misleading reports circulating on social media alleging that the federal government has suspended the payment of upkeep allowances to beneficiaries of the student loan scheme. In a statement, the Director of Strategic Communications, Oseyemi Oluwatuyi, describes the publication as fabricated and aimed at creating panic, confusion, and distrust among students and general public. According to NEL Fund, neither the federal government nor the agency has issued any directive concerning the suspension of upkeep allowance payments. The fund stresses that the viral newspaper cover being circulated online was not an authentic publication of the Nigerian Tribune and warns the public against relying on unverified information. You're still watching Nta Akure News at 7. We shall be back after this break. Please stay with us.
Progress no dey happen just like that. It dey come from support when you need am.
Mommy, I got the school fees. You too much.
Na money point o.
Money point, thank you.
Customer, na transfer abi? Confirm.
Bro, na transfer.
Na money point oga. Oh, na confirm.
Progress na peace of mind when you know say payment go land as sure banker. Progress na small wind wey dey carry person go far.
No worry, yourself go make am. Mo go buy ball.
Victor, even you dey use money point?
Of course na, they use money point.
Confirm.
Money point, made for your progress.
You're welcome back. You can also watch us on our social media handles on Facebook and YouTube at Nta Akure. Residents of Akure are raising concerns over the growing number of school-age children involved in street hawking during school hours across the state capital. Our correspondent reports that stakeholders are calling for urgent intervention to safeguard the future of affected children and ensure they remain in school. The report.
Major roads, markets, busy intersections across Akure are increasingly becoming centers for child hawking during school hours, as children are seen selling sachi water, fruits, snacks, and other household items instead of being in the classroom. The development has continued to generate concern among residents who fear that children are being exposed to dangers such as road accidents, exploitation, and other social vices. Some parents, however, attribute the situation to the prevailing economic hardship, rising cost of living, and unemployment, stressing that the children contribute to the survival of their families.
It is a very wrong practice. I blame parents a lot. If other children's parents are going to school, why should your own be hawking on the street? It's unfair. That is child abuse. Why don't you enact a law? Any child found on the street during school hours should be arrested.
Our children is our tomorrow.
Education stakeholders and child rights advocates in Ondo State have condemned the trend, describing it as a threat to the future of affected children. They emphasize that every child deserves access to quality education, regardless of economic circumstances. The stakeholders call on government agencies, non-governmental organizations, and other relevant bodies to intensify awareness campaigns and introduce support programs for vulnerable families to address the growing menace.
Under the Constitution, there is compulsory education for a child from under universal basic education. From JS3 down to preschool is the responsibility of parents. And when a parent is shackled and is neglecting his responsibility in that field, such a parent should be prosecuted.
When children don't have access to education, when they don't have access to good meal, quality life, then those child too, they can turn out to be criminals in the society. So the best thing our mothers, our girls can do is to plan their life properly. Plan their family. If you know you cannot hold your body, if you know that you are not ready to procreate, then you have to go on family planning. So that if you are bringing a child to this world, you can be sure that you have the resources to make the child comfortable. You have the resources to allow the child to have access to education. Because when they have access to education, that means their future is protected. The government should be more intentional through its policies. Its policies should be very stringent. If government policies are stringent about childbearing, about family planning, then people will be reasonable in following the rules of engagement that government has laid down.
They maintain that tackling poverty, improve access to education, and strengthening child protection policies are essential steps toward reducing child labor and safeguarding the future of children in society.
Let's join Boluwatife Adeoti on Business News.
The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to promoting electric vehicles and clean transportation as part of efforts to modernize Nigerian transport sector, deepen industrialization, and advance the country's green energy agenda. The commitment was made at the inaugural meeting of the Electric Vehicle Association of Nigeria, held in Abuja, where government officials and industry stakeholders stressed the need for stronger collaboration to position Nigeria as a major player in Africa's electric mobility revolution. In another development, the federal government and the World Bank have restructured the $500 million hope for quality basic education for all program, cutting funding allocations tied to the construction of new classrooms, while expanding the number of states eligible for targeted interventions under the project. The document showed that the allocation for the creation of 13,000 new classrooms under the program was significantly reduced following changes in grant financing from the Global Partnership for Education. And that will be all on Business News. In Akure, Boluwatife Adeoti, Nta News.
Up next is Sports News.
Here are some trending sports stories today. Nigeria and Jamaica go head-to-head for the 2026 Unity Cup title as the final is set for Saturday at the Valley, home of Charlton Athletic in London. The Super Eagles earned their spot with a 2-0 win over Zimbabwe in the first semi. On his senior debut, Millwall winger Femi Aziz bagged a brilliant brace. Jamaica, the Reggae Boys, followed by beating India 2-0 in the second semi. These two have a fierce rivalry. In the last year's edition, Nigeria edged Jamaica 5-4 on penalties after a 2-2 draw. The 4-team Unity Cup is also a key testing ground for coaches to try new players and tactics ahead of competitive matches. Switching to European football, after hosting the 2023 Europa League final, Hungary's capital Budapest gets the Champions League final for the first time at the Puskás Arena. The match kicks off Saturday, May 30, 2026, closing out the 71st session of Europe's elite club competition. Holders PSG are chasing history to become the second team in the Champions League era to defend their title after Real Madrid. Now to the 2026 French Open, a massive shock. World number 1 Yannick Sinner is out in the second round. The favorite, seen as the most dominant on clay since Rafael Nadal in 2009, lost to the Argentines Juan Manuel Cerundolo in 5 sets under scorching Paris heat. Sinner led 2-0 and was up 5-1 in the third. Then a stunning turnaround as he looked sluggish and dejected, dropped 11 straight points, called for the trainer and eventually fell 3-6, 2-6, 7-5, 6-1, 6-1. Cerundolo ranked 56th in the world. The French Open remains the only major missing from Sinner's 4 Grand Slam titles. And that does it for Sports Update. I am Enojo Adiku.
And that's our package for this evening. We thank you for watching. Do stand by for Ironi. Good evening.